Megan Meyer was a 13-year-old girl, and she made friends with a boy named Josh on MySpace about 4 years ago. Just this simple thing, it opened the door to a series of tormenting behaviors that she experienced through MySpace. And they found out later that this boy, Josh, was actually a woman, an adult. Her name was Lori. She lived down the street. And for some reason, she decided to do this and torment this young girl. Sometime before that, before they found out who was doing this young girl named Megan, 13 years old, she hung herself. Things like this have made me come to claim that social networking is dangerous and it can be a harm to our society. From the Megan Meyer Foundation and Stop Cyber Bullying organizations, as well as articles from CBS, ABC, and Discovery News, I've come to find that there's 3 dangerous things about social networking. The first being, like in Megan's case, cyberbullying and harassment. The next is the forum of being able to lie within it. And thirdly, the deterioration of a mental and physical health that comes along with social networking. I'll begin with cyber harassment. There's a lot of other cases like Megan's. They turn up more often. If it's cyberbullying, that's when teens do it to teens or kids. Harassment is, like in this case, they found out was actually an adult. It's any kind of embarrassing teasing over the internet. And what makes it worse is because everybody can see it. If you're teased in real life or if you're bullied in real life, it comes down to who sees it. And when kids are young and you can affect them so easily, it can really be a problem to their self-esteem and it can make them depressed. This forum, it allows teens to be mean without facing these consequences. They don't have to do it to anyone's face, and maybe bullying online can make them feel cool or have that power. The New York State School Counselor Association said that this kind of bullying affects 65 to 80% of kids that are on social networks, directly or indirectly. And this can lead to serious damage to a person's mental state. Or worse, I'm sure some of you have probably attended the Candlelight Vigil recently here on Hofstra's campus because a Rutgers student, his name was Tyler Clementi, he jumped off the George Washington Bridge after 2 students from his college secretly videotaped him engaging in a sexual act with a boy, and then they posted right onto a social network, and this caused him to feel as though he had to jump off a bridge and kill himself. Secondly, the social networking, it gives you a forum to be able to lie and conceal your identity. It can enable users to appear as they want to, like a false world. And this attracts people like sexual offenders and criminals. For instance, right here on Long Island, a couple years ago, a man found a work address of a 16-year-old girl through her social network. He was lying about his identity, so therefore she trusted him. She said where she worked. He could look up where she worked, and he went to her work and sexually assaulted her in the parking lot. And this false world of lying that social networking creates causes a lot of these crimes because it gives them the ability to do something like this. Thirdly, they are finding more and more studies that are showing how social networking is affecting us, mind and body. It is losing communication skills face-to-face. I know you hear about this all the time with things like texting, and this is just another one of those factors. As people, friendships and communication is so important to not only our minds and our relationships with one another, but it is not good for our health state either. Susan Greenfield, neuroscientist and former director of the Royal Institution of Great Britain, said that it's shortening attention spans, weakening our immune systems, and changing the development of how our brains are actually developing now. In conclusion, cyber harassment, the ability to conceal your identity, and this trend of hurting mental and physical health brings me to believe that social networking is a danger and harm to our society. If this was brought to maybe the Meyer family's attention in some way, and Megan was more careful and aware of these things, she might still be here with us. Thank you.